Matthew Wysitsky, May 12th, 2021. Imagine it's a Saturday morning and you just finished a long week of work and you finally get that chance to sleep in. Now imagine getting a random call at 7 o'clock in the morning about your vehicle's non-existent extended warranty. Calls like this happen every day, and to some people, they happen multiple times a day. According to USA Today, in 2020, more than 50 billion spam calls were made to Americans. Spam calls and scam calls are sent out to phone users in outrageous numbers. I remember one Sunday morning, I just finished a long work week and I finally got that chance to sleep in. Then out of nowhere, at 6 o'clock in the morning, I get a random spam call. I hang up the call and immediately try to go back to sleep. But not even 10 minutes later, I get not one, but two more spam calls. And these calls can come at the most inconvenient times. One time I was taking an exam and I got a spam call. Even though I didn't answer the spam call, my computer still went to the home screen, flagging my exam for my professor to review. I had to then email my professor to say not only was I not cheating, but it was a spam call that caused me to go to my home screen. Luckily for me, my professor understood the situation and didn't hold anything against me, but that could have easily cost me an entire exam grade. The intent of spam calls is to sell us on a product or just to make money off the person they're calling. They've been known to use tactics like intimidating people to send them money, or using similar area codes to look like someone you might know. In an article written by Sam Cook, a data journalist, it states by the end of 2019, over 80% of all spam calls in the US were made using local area codes to the recipient. I'm from Ohio, so when I set up my phone number has an Ohio area code. So whenever I get spam calls, it's super easy to tell when they're spam. But for someone who's lived in the same area for all their lives and haven't changed their numbers, scam calls are a lot harder to differentiate between people who are actually trying to call them. Scammers often go after those who don't quite understand that these are scams in an attempt to make money off of them in various ways. One tactic is the IRS call. The scammer calls somebody and claims to be the IRS, stating that they owe thousands of dollars in debt. The scammer then says that if they pay a small fee, they won't be sent to jail. If the person that's being called declines to pay, the scammer says that they will call the local sheriff department and have these people arrested. For most people understand that this is a scam now, but for those who don't quite understand, it can be costing them hundreds of dollars. Cook also states that in 2019, scam phone calls cost their victims $1,000 on average. Scammers and robocalls also adapt to global events as well. For example, when the government sent out the COVID-19 stimulus, many scammers would call to claim to be the IRS, stating that in order to receive your stimulus package, you would have to pay a small fee to access the money. Another scam was the COVID-19 test. Scammers would call and tell people that they had a COVID-19 testing kit that would give results in a matter of minutes with 100% accuracy. If people were to fall for this scam, most times they would not receive anything at all, and if they did, it was just an empty box. Scams like this should not be able to occur. The government should make the national do not call list more well known, and scammers and telemarketers should have to face stricter regulations. The national do not call list is a number that you can call that puts your phone number on a national registry so that blocks spam calls and robocalls. Not all spam and robocalls will be blocked, but it helps defend most users from almost all robo and spam calls. Cell phone companies have also started to implement spam call and scam call warning systems. Software like this has been shown to help prevent these calls. According to Hiya, only 11% of spam-marked calls were answered. The FCC has started issuing hundreds of millions of dollars in enforcement actions against illegal robocalls. These calls have also allowed cell phone companies to start blocking illegal calls. Even though these companies like Verizon are trying to implement software is not only up to them. The federal government should start passing more laws against illegal robocalls and scam calls. Former President Donald Trump signed a law that was meant to tackle spam calls giving the FCC more power over cell phone companies to ensure their clients' safety. Adding more laws like this that could fine companies if these robocalls continue to happen will greatly affect how companies protect their users. For example, in an article from ABC News, it states that the Trace Act increased fines on spam robocalls from $1,500 to as much as $10,000 per illegal call. These fines would be placed on the phone companies themselves. This then forced the companies to increase the speed in which they developed their call authentication systems. Even though there looks to be no end to the outrageous amount of spam calls, here's ways to fight. Talk to your local or state representative to see if there's any bills that they can pass to help you fight against spam and robocalls. Laws can place sanctions over companies until they ensure your privacy. The Federal Trade Commission can also place new sanctions on companies, so get in contact with their complaint departments to make sure that your complaints and ideas are heard. Talk to your cell phone companies to see what spam and robocall protection softwares that they offer. The FCC offers tips on how to put an end to unwanted spam calls on their website. Some tips are: don't answer unknown calls even if they have the same area code. Another simple tip is don't give out and don't answer any questions, especially if the answer is yes. And most importantly, never give personal information out over the phone. One day there will be an end to illegal calls, but that will not happen until you, the consumer, talk to your representatives about passing laws to protect you.